Yeah, so we were also very grateful for all the feedback. It was amazing to hear so much. And next slide. So we have summarized it and set together, and there was a lot of overlap in feedback, so we made these points. So one was good to have the details of a few core concepts. Then weaving of schools, a safe campus, including all Auroville schools. Then a dream plaza, free food 24/7, free landing place. Then food forest with water catchment, Kunst and columns. Then 4 city sections with the charter of the dream. The lightness of the buildings, wooden regenerative aspects. Develop social aspects. Then safety of children to be emphasized further. And suggestion, add 0 waste, bring more details to the current reality.
Just to give you a brief outline of the core concepts we already presented. So when Tanja started, she started with the crown image, and when I started with the images of circular cities from ancient history to now. And somehow our designs seem to were converging in terms of the interpretation of these 2 images. So at one point we said we'll start working together. And when we started working together, we said that we need to have a new starting point. So we came up with a new paradigm which somehow brings our concepts together. And that's the paradigm of health. And the health, good health, requires some very big factors. Good assimilation, good elimination, and good sleep, as in good rest. You know? So we said that if we are to look at the health of our city, health of Auroville, what are the factors that we need to assimilate, especially in the design of the city? And it's quite clear from our brief as well that the charter, the dream, the vision model, these are the 3 major aspects. And we tried to weave together these aspects in the previous presentation. I'm not going to get into details. Elimination, we said that certain phenomena that exist, sadness that is evidenced by the increased rate of suicides, danger to children on the street, which I witness every day with my child, water runoff, which is very well established, sweat means very uncomfortable conditions in the summer, unemployment, a lot of people feeling stress because of that, food insecurity. Not everyone has guaranteed meals, unfortunately, every day here. Motorized inner city, which is still a travesty of the dream. And twists in infrastructure, which actually cause a lot of inefficiency in all the systems, the technical systems of the city. And the last one, waste, was introduced by the feedback, which came from the last session, so 0 waste. So all of this around the concept of 0. Yeah? And rest, of course, what should I say? That's what we do best. So we're not going to get into rest. So let's move on. Next. So this is the plan we came up with the last time. We dreamt up a whole lot of programmatic functions for the crown, because we felt, as previous dreamweaving exercises also felt, and analysis by architects like Suhasini and all felt, that there's not enough programming on the crown to build up the massing of the crown. So we said we'll come up with a lot of new buildings and institutions and all that. So that was done. Next. As part of the feedback, we were told that we should focus on certain core concepts. One of the core concepts was the Dream Plaza, that we should have one place in Auroville everyone can go to any time of day or night. It's active and it's buzzing. So that's around the solar kitchen. We'll get into details later. Next. We said we'll look at the sensitive zones, the eco-sensitive zones, Darkali, Oro Dam, and the Bliss Forest, and we'll try to detail it out as much as possible. Next. And then one of the big feedbacks that came was to integrate the schools of Auroville in one campus. So, Tanja.
Yeah. So what you see in yellow is what we consider this campus area. It has all the existing schools, and it's also the area where the future schools will develop. It also includes here the Mahalakshmi Park, which we consider would be the safe path for the kids to travel, basically. We have given it some highlights, which I will present now, and we have two paths here. One crossing over the crown, then going to Dea Shakti over the Gaia field. Another one following the crown and then going in between the schools and going this way to Dea Shakti. So next. Yeah, so we have taken the existing situation with its road. In future, it can be elaborated, and we have really detailed now some of the improvements. Next. So the first one, I hope you saw the blobs in the last one. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's close to Neem Tree because that is the closest to the kindergartens and pre-crash, and we thought of giving it here a little sand pit, a nice sand pit with water elements and buckets and an edible garden, because that's the way for the small kids also to go to their kindergartens and pre-crashes. Next. And then close to the Deepanam buildings, close to that side, there's another little path, and we thought of putting there one of our manda pumps. We had introduced last time manda pumps, a flexible use building, a bit like Sauchu, with public toilets and a storeroom attached, and little, and in this case, little study tables for maybe like up to 10, 12 people that are little semi-private around. So we have placed one of them close to a Deepanam school that could be used by the schools for study circles, but of course for any other purpose. We have made this one round and pale orange because it's in the cultural zone, and we have picked up Mother's idea of giving it round shape and pale orange. Next. So the next one now along the Mahalakshmi path would be a very quiet area, a sensory footpath that is best to explore even closed eyes. So I'm just giving a couple of ideas, like a log to walk upon, then this is a rope, then you have big stones, then you come to the actual footpath here, which is boxes filled with different material, like leaves, pine tree, needles, twigs, sand, soil, all kinds of things to be explored. Next. Then here along the same path could be something like a science and musical exploration for kids. So just ideas, this is a vortex cycle, then we have Newton's pendulum, this is music tubes, some elements like that where kids can actually explore something, and which is not just a playground. Okay, so this is one of, we are already close to the crown here at the section, not far from the section that is now blocked because it's not our land. And we had in our last presentation Kunz to irrigate subsurface and to have food forests close to the Kunz. Manu will go into the details later. This one is one especially for children. So we have made it into a galaxy shape. And one special feature, it's very shallow, the other ones are much deeper so that it's really safe for children. What is special is this stone in the middle. It's one of the designs of Hugo Küchelhaus, who designed a stone that you can actually roll because it's suspended on water. It cannot roll off, of course, but it's very interesting that such a big stone can be easily rolled. And another feature would be that it has fountains, but the fountains will only work when there's a lot of wind. So the kids will have to observe the windmill and have only sometimes when the fountains go on. Okay, next. So this is the actual crossing over the crown. So we are suggesting a net kind of structure that crosses the entire crown, that you can climb on this side. Here you have then some relaxation on the top and a nice view. And on the other side you can either slide down on the net or you can walk down, climb down, anything. And the photos are just to show you that this is actually possible to make it safe. It's not something completely out of the box. Okay, next. So now from here we have two ways. One is the way going to Dea Shakti through the Gaia field, and the other one will go towards La School and the other schools. And we have placed a playground there. behind Kripa and close to the multi-purpose stadium that might be in future used for like big gatherings. So it could be good to have a playground there for the kids. Yeah, just some features. The highlight here would be, this comes from Japan. It's again nets, like several floors, and you have these blobs, swinging blobs that are hanging there. And yeah, I'm happy to explain in detail if somebody's interested. This is a nice disc. It's tilted to one side. I know it myself. You can either spin it by hand or run on it, and it spins, sit on it, and this is self-speaking, I think. Okay, next. Okay, then the next thing, if you wouldn't have gone towards the Gaia field, but you would have taken the road towards last school and future school, we have planned a construction playground called in German Bauspielplatz. We have many of those in Germany. It has to be supervised. The kids will get building material, nails, hammers, and under supervision they will be even sewing. So this is for us to make our future builders of the city, where they can explore their skills and come up with designs. So we have allocated that here, close to the schools where the older kids are. Okay, next. Then we have, we have given it a little bit of a new path, which is now already in use, but not officially. Now all the 3 schools have different entrances, and they are really separate. So we got a lot of feedback to bring the schools closer together. So the path would then actually weave through the schools, and you would officially take that path. Yeah. And then we have we want to place some sport courts in this area, and smaller ones maybe in between the schools. So what is most needed right now would be a basketball court and maybe volleyball court. There's space for smaller ones that could be more quiet in between, and this could be a bigger area because it's nice to group some together, and then it's a bigger play area for these things. Okay, so next.
So we have at the Youth Center Bliss Forest, we feel that there could be a canopy walk which is directed from the crown, but going through the higher trees, the taller trees. And of course, more activities like the skate park and adventure activities. Next.
Okay, so now we come already to something else. We have detailed areas of the crown, starting from Humanscape and going all the way up to Solar Kitchen and beyond. So we went more into details because we got a lot of feedback that we should rather focus on some details now. So, and we also have woven this child-friendliness into our crown experience. So the first thing we wanted to suggest is, in order for us to slowly make the transition to having the crown unmotorized, we are suggesting to get a couple of e-shuttles and have them run on the ground, to have e-cycle spots along the radials. Here you see the Vickers radial. This is just one example, but on all the radials there would be e-cycles. And then the first step would be to park the vehicles along the radial right now. Later on, they might be possible to keep them completely out. So to demarcate that this is really supposedly non-motorized, we suggest to put some pots on the road with plants. And also to slow down the traffic with a tabletop, that it really indicates that this is a different area. Then we have reduced the road width to 4 meters, which should be then enough for the e-shuttles and the e-cycles and everything, giving us a lot of space to design the area, really. And yeah, we come to our infrastructure later. So we also picked up the idea from others to make it a little bit playful, the road. I mean, this gives us so much more space. For example, here at Humanscapes, you see very clearly that the people wouldn't want a footpath here. They really want their privacy. So we're putting a hedge here, and the pedestrians go entirely on this side. So this would already invite as a bus stop. the way it's designed right now. And we are just giving some ideas what could happen at a bus stop while people are waiting. So this, of course, needs a special atmosphere. It's a singing stone that you play with a little bit wet hands. This would be a safe way for kids to have the monkey bar without being able to climb on and fall down. Then on the other side would be, of course, again, a bus stop, but we would like to design them in a very playful way. So these are benches, rising up, giving a backrest, kind of, that also designs the space here a little bit. And on this side, there's a slide going down for kids. Then, we have planned a light structure building here that can be used by anybody to serve something, like juices or snacks or anything. And one side developed with fixed tables, but the other side, again, like for more resting area, benches here, a water body. And then we have one highlight here, kind of. We want to highlight the line of light that is crossing here. So one suggestion would be to put a mother symbol as a glass kind of structure that throws a colored shadow on the ground. But while discussing it yesterday, we felt it was maybe a bit squashed here. It should maybe have another space. So that's why I didn't take the skateboarder out. That we had in mind to develop some stretch here for skateboarding, like one part of it, because this is a higher area giving already a back to the road, and then to develop this area for skateboarding or something. But that's only an idea. Then this is a roof area that will be accessible with a skywalk, which we didn't put here in order not to block the view. You see in a later slide. And then that's, the fireplace. So we liked also this idea of fireplaces. So we have placed one fireplace here that is designed in a way that you can, again, easily join. All these places we designed for people to join any time of the day, where you feel always comfortable to just sit and meet people or not meet people or just sit and observe. So this fireplace would be a place that you can go any time in the night and join. Okay, next slide.
In order to get people accustomed to changing their behavior, slowing down on the street, we felt that we could use plants on the road, and the planters could be on wheels, hidden in the design of the planter. And those wheels could be locked, perhaps with a simple number lock system. So once you place the planters in a particular configuration, you can't simply move them until you unlock it, and then you can move it in other configurations as you want to further reduce the speed of the traffic. Next. We felt that sadness and depression is one major aspect of the city, and so one way to address it is with bringing in chance encounters. So all these spaces that we talked about means people just hanging around and bumping into people as they walk, so this would be a big contributor. Next.
Okay, this is now the next stretch. Here we had the bus stop from in front of opposite Kalpana. This is the radial. So now we are suggesting for kids to go along that path, to put some interesting elements to balance. Again, a footpath, this time not sensory, but was it the ring? Oh my God. Okay, all right. So then to have this path again designed a little bit interesting for kids, then the library area to give this a complete new use, because now we have a big hedge which is protecting it, but we could design it in a way that all the activities are serving the library function. So we are suggesting here benches, comfortable benches on the library side. This with magazines and books that when you pass by, you might pick up one and rest here a bit and read something. This is a pond, kind of like in Verity, where you hang your feet inside and you sit on the edge. On this side is, again, a bench that giving the back to the road to create this safe little silent plaza inside. And this would be a chest, human-sized chest. And then for the library, if you want to form study groups, we have given another mandapam, this time in the shape of hexagon because it's the residential area, with another set of tables all around that you could use. Even dreamweaving could happen in such a place, and yeah. Okay, next.
Next. Okay, coming to the Dream Plaza, this is where we left last time. These were very preliminary sketches. Next. We detailed it out a little bit, this time incorporating the line of force that is coming close to Solar Kitchen. As you can see, there is an inner ring of buildings. Can I have the point? You have an inner ring of buildings that are going like that, which are completely following Mother's principle of no money. So none of these buildings would charge money for accessing it. The library already doesn't. The lounge of Auroville, where people can hang out 24/7, will not. Above the lounge, we propose an indoor games area, that too. And then we propose a new solar kitchen. When the population increases, the current one would be saturated already. It's almost saturated now. The new one will operate on the principle of simple meals, like one-pot meals. And those one-pot meals will be free. And it will be served 24/7. So anytime people go there, they would be given food. And this is another special place called the Free Landing Zone. So anybody who comes to Auroville will have a roof on their head. It's a guaranteed thing. Not forever, but for the time that it takes for them to find a place to stay. So it's not like you have to stay in Pondi and then explore Auroville. So Dharamshala, these are concepts very much ingrained in Indian culture, in Gurudwaras all over India. And these are co-working spaces. Anybody is wanting to start an enterprise in Auroville will have a desk and internet connection, and they will be able to work without having to pay rent, So when we propose things like this, it sounds utopian because it seems like there's no economic sustainability thought about. How will these facilities function in terms of the long run? Even if they were built with grants or donations, how will they run, on a day-to-day basis? That's where the outer ring comes. Now, the outer ring is all about commerce. It's all about what we do best. There's a lot of examples, bread and chocolate, Tanto. There's a lot of enterprises that are outside in Kuilapalem. But why should they function in Kuilapalem? Aurovillans have to go all the way there. Why can't they be brought to the center? And so the 33% that these units would give to Auroville would actually go there, to the inner ring. And the inner ring would be supported by the outer ring. And they both have to coexist. That's the idea of the city. And then, of course, there are other things like the handicraft bazaar. We'll talk about it later. Next. So, zero runoff. This is something that we talked about the last time. It's more a recap. Next. Buildings that would integrate water systems like wastewater and rainwater. Next. And the same, this is at Oro Dam. And how do we do this in Oro Dam? I'm not going to get into details. We don't have time. Next. This is a section of Oro Dam, how it will be. We're talking of lightweight buildings made mostly in wood, regenerative materials. Next. To integrate boardwalks and canopy walks on the ground. So you stay as much off the ground as possible, not put concrete into the ground. Next. Integrating windmills and kunds so that we have a constant flow of water from the lower levels of the ground to the upper levels, to the upper kunds, and that water can flow by gravity subsurface to irrigate the whole inner city area. The inner city area can then be water rich without drip or sprinklers, and you can continue to grow things, grow food. Next. This is multiple types of kunds or columns with windmills attached and food forests around it. Next. integrating all the layers, the water, ground, roof, and sky layer. Next. Regenerative design principles. Now that's an 18-storied building made entirely in wood. Entirely in wood. And this is a new technology called compressed laminated timber. It's, I guess, 12 years old or something. And this is something eminently usable for the eco-sensitive zones, at least the lines of force. Next. Tarkali. Can this be a place of peace, concord, and harmony, where our fighting instincts have been transformed? This is mother's dream. Can we do this with flowers? This is our question. Next. So the lines of force, can it be an impression of mother's flowers? Next. Next. You see how the flowers are? The flowers are actually camouflaging the tree houses and the trees from above, so that you can actually see only flowers in the lines of force. And these are dew collecting mechanisms. These are large nets of different colors, nylon nets, reinforced by steel. Next. So that's how it works. So you have a big flower that's tensed, it's tensile net, and that collects water into a 100-liter water tank. This actually is pure drinking water. And I see this every day where I live at International House. Every day there's rain. Because in the morning at 5, you wake up, you see drip, 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 drip with the condensation. So this is very real with the high humidity that we have. And all the drinking water for the lines of force on the wooden buildings could be generated with flowers. Yeah, next. Unemployment. Now, we feel that this is a very serious topic, and this is not only true for Auroville, but also for the village. And how can we encourage bazaars where village people as well as Aurovillians can put up their craft? And at Solar Kitchen Plaza, we feel that there could be a handicraft bazaar where people like Next, this lady Lakshmi, who actually sells these lamps, shades at visitor center parking. She sells these for 125 rupees each. Next. And inside in the boutique, the same pieces are sold for 735 rupees. So you see, it's a 600% increase in price. And poor Aurovillians can't afford those prices. So it would be a win-win situation for Aurovillians if those crafts, people from the village who do cottage crafts, can be brought to the center of Auroville. So we can afford our own creations. Aurovillians can afford our own creations. It's a win-win for both. Next. The idea of craft weaving with AV artisanal units, like with windmills, it could be musical. Windmills are noisy. So if we can convert the movement of the shaft. Next, I'll show you the system there. Using these sound boxes. If you attach a sound box at the shaft and we convert the movement into a crank system which loads a spring and that generates music there, we can eliminate that problem of the windmill. We can integrate wooden tree houses or bamboo tree houses along with it, and food forests and the kulam. So the water from the kulam goes up, pumps up to the water tank above the building at the crown, and overflows into a waterfall where people can, cool themselves in the summer. And that waterfall flows into a line of water, a water channel, which we propose to run in 8 sections along the crown. It's called the Lakshman Rekha. It's a physical barrier that vehicles cannot cross. So the inner city is completely kept motor-free. The water channel is the physical barrier. Next. It also has other purposes. I'll come to that later. So that's and then of course we have all this adventure stuff going on and all this movement, and people get sick of it at times. So you need points of retreat from the activity. So we feel the lines of light coming from Matri Mandir could offer clues. So we have these lines where we create pathways, and we create these retreat pod nests. So that's, can you These are very mildly gyrating platforms where you can sit and it slightly sways in the wind. Next. Yeah, that's how it works. It's a ball and socket joint here and a ball and socket joint there. So they neutralize the movement to create a slightly gyrating platform where only one person can sit in the nest. And this nest is facing Mathuramandir Lake. And it's at a height. You climb with a ladder. And you can sit there for as long as you want, retreating from the noise of the crown. Next. And it could be a dream weaving or craft weaving exercise between various Auroville units. This is the idea of Solar Kitchen Light with free food, one-pot meals, simple Sattvic food. Next. So, yes. So there's a lot there. The sections, we'll just go to the sections next. So that's the section between Kalpana and the multipurpose hall. That's Kalpana, and that's the future multipurpose hall, which I think Gundolf has proposed. And at the middle of the crown, we say that we have a high line that connects the buildings. So this high line would help to integrate the roofs, which is one of the concepts of Roger, to integrate all the roofs. Next. So that's the section between the Auroville Lounge and the food court. So that's the Auroville Lounge. Upstairs is indoor games. And then you have a bio pool. It's a natural pool which does not use chlorine or ozone or anything. It's just root zone filtration. And then you have the crown. And then you have a food court where all the Auroville restaurants on the other side, the Tanto and Bread and Chocolate, can all serve into one dining area, which is also got a playground integrated. Next. So that's the biopool, where you have water and where you have the filtration, the reed bed. And the system is that all this water has to go through the reed bed 2 times a day. That's the principle. Very simple. If you design that, this water will be clean. And there are hundreds of such pools all over the world. Next. Okay, that's the section between the Dharamshala and the Handicraft Bazaar. So you have, that's the Dharamshala area, the Mandapa, and you go down, that's the restaurant, and that's the place where you have the handicrafts. Next. A section between the co-working and the recreational spaces and the other co-working spaces. On one side, it's offices which are charged. On the other side, it's free co-working for startups. Next. So that's the section between the co-working and the slow dining spaces. So that's co-working areas which are free, and this is slow dining, which is probably expensive. Next. So that's a section, between the Dharamshala again and the art center. So the art center is exhibitions below, like in Citadine, and upstairs is art studios, which are also shareable. So the art pieces from the studios go straight down. Next. That's a section through slow dining and the co-working again. You see the biopool there as well. We're trying to see that these pools are available and accessible in as many plazas as possible on the crown, because it's a perfect way to cool off in the summer. Next. So the water channel that we saw earlier is a way to keep the vehicles off the inner city. Next. So the other purpose of the Lakshman Rekha was to irrigate under the surface all the vegetation on the crown. So all the crown would be irrigated by the Lakshman. Next. So for the infrastructure, we propose a combination of decentralized. This is after the Javeri Associates meeting with Doshiji's office. We feel a combination of a central infrastructure corridor, which has electrical and OFC, combined with decentralized loops, 8 loops, which has sewage, stormwater, biogas as well. Biogas plants can be installed in each zone. This might work, but this still means that the central infrastructure corridor has to be very efficient and straight. Next. We don't want situations like this. This is not India, this is Paris. And this is happening everywhere in the world. We don't want chaos with infrastructure. And so we want certain regimen which is followed at least in the central area. Next. Next. First steps. Next. What can we do? Right away. Next. Next. So, can we animate the street life with street furniture? There's also already an offer from Islam that he could donate the wood for it. So, can we make furniture at specific areas? Next. Can we make transit mandapams, which are easy to move and erect, which are good for urbanism? Next. Can we do happy streets? Like all over India, cities are going for these. Certain timings of Sundays are kept reserved for people to go. And so can we do the full stretch of the built ground from Mahalakshmi home to Solar Kitchen? Can we convert it on Sundays for people to be free to walk and do their thing, you know? Next. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.